Prepare yourself.
The opinions of the host and guests on this show are exclusively just that, opinions. That means that they shouldn't be the cause of your state of being offended. Why does everybody get so butthurt?
Okay, let's go.
Ready, go!
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your host, Dominic Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Would help if I hit my own unmute mic. Still, this is the year 7. 7 years of the Rants of Izzo Show, and I can't get a goddamn intern to save my life. If anybody wants to intern for the Rants of Izzo Show, go to, just send an email, rantsofizzo@gmail.com, and I'll gladly take you up on that. February 28th, 2025, we're closing out the month here. I've had a couple of weeks off, and I appreciate everyone's patience being put up with me. We'll take a look at the chat and see you guys for a second. Guys, this is the Rants of Izzo Show. We cover everything from politics to porn. It's a stream of consciousness discussion. We talk about all the trends, media, you name it. There's a chat. If you go to any description from where you're consuming this, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, Facebook, X, YouTube, all this kind of stuff, you'll see there's a link, and it'll take you to Telegram, the app, and you can join our awesome chat. It is great to see everybody in the chat. I appreciate you all. Kate, Bev, April, Schoen, Morgan, Sarah. It's good to see you guys. I appreciate you over in there. We have a lot to talk about today because, again, I was off for most of the week, and it's good to see everyone. But first, I want to play honor, and I want to play homage, if you will, to Chicago. Since we're closing out Black History Month, and clearly, as a white man, I have no right to talk about anything in America, right? My opinion doesn't matter. So for all of you awesome blacks out there in Chicago celebrating Black History Month, let's see how many of you bit the fucking bullet literally this month, because your black life matters so much more than mine that we celebrate you during the month of February. Let's do this. So my co-host today, Kayla from Flex Your Feminine, is joining. It's good to see you. How are you? We can't hear you. Did you mute yourself out? We can't play Black Lives Matter Jeopardy if you didn't mute yourself out there. Well, Kayla is fixing the technical problems. At least we get a cleavage shot from that one. Thank you. We're going to go over. So for those who do this Mondays, over on the Rants of Izzo's, normally when we go over the shooting gallery that is Chicago, Illinois. And this is... I need an intern. I need a damn intern. This is so ridiculous. We're going to go over the numbers of people who have been shot. So for those who don't know, Chicago, 2.7 million. Really? There's always this concept in radio. If you can't fix it, feature it. And it's like, this is you shit the bed. Go down to the bottom of your Zoom where it says the arrow, or unplug that thing and just... I've been a professional for 7 years on podcasting. Literally, I have I think we've got over 1,000 Rants of Izzo episodes. Started this January 7th, 2019. Is that 1,000? I think I'm maybe about 1,000. And here we are. So for those playing at home, we're going to do this instead while Kayla comes up with this. What the purpose of this is to find out how many people have been shot, how many people get killed. So we are at the 28th day. So we've had 27 days fully pass in the city of Chicago for the month of February. And the question I ask everyone is simply, how... She's going to log back in a second. How many people have been killed? Fucking son of a bitch. Oh my God. This is why I took the last 2 weeks off, because I have a train wreck of a fucking show that we got to pull together. Oh my gosh, let me go back to this for a second. Oh While those are enjoying the subtle nuances of the Jeopardy theme, missing Alex Trebek in the background, we will return to your regularly scheduled program in a minute. We're going to be talking about Black Lives Matter. That don't matter in Chicago at all because they can't stop killing one another. But of course, your white guilt in America is what's important. As long as you, whitey, liberal whitey, keep on kissing the old black man's ring and saying it's your fault in America, then we can continue to proceed. Holy shit, and shove me in it. Do we have you now?
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we have you now. Can we play Black Jeopardy, the real version now?
Yeah.
Okay. Kayla from flexyourfeminine.com. My question to you is, in the month of February so far, we'll close it out tomorrow, but today's how many people have been killed in this month alone? In 27 days, how many people have been killed in the city of Chicago? 2.8 million people in the month of February alone.
Are you is it multiple choice or do I have to come up with an answer?
You have to come up with an answer.
The month of February alone, I'm going to say 111.
That's a lot. No, the actual answer is 21. There have been 21. I'm going to guess mostly Black lives did not matter for the think about that. It's like, hey, what do we got to? It's Black Lives Matter, Black History Month. Yay, in City of Chicago. What's going on? Well, your life doesn't matter. Lamontis, Shadiqua, Jarsipian, your life doesn't matter this month. Someone lost a child today if they even gave a shit about their kid in the first place. All right, so how many people have been shot for this month? Because you have some people who can be shot and they can live. How many people, and it does include the 21 who were murdered, total have been shot in the city of Chicago for the month of February?
88.
That's close. Close. I'll give everyone at home a chance to get their votes in while I get the numbers tallied up. So we've already had 21 people have been killed. The answer is actually 92.
Oh, I'm very close.
So 92 divided by 27 is 3.4 people. Every single day in the city of Chicago, 3.4 people were shot in the month. There you go. We already. Do you want to take a couple other guesses? Like for the total, we've had 8 weeks. 8 weeks have gone by in 2025. How many people do you think have been killed in the city of Chicago in the first 8 weeks of 2025?
50.
That's a close guess. It's actually 63.
My God.
63 people, a majority of them, Black lives, did not matter in 2025. Would you like to take a guess? How many people have been shot in this shithole city that we think is a beacon of hope and light and love and liberalism and just unity and diversity? How many people have been shot in the first 2 months of 2025?
100.
239 people.
Oh, I should have gone with my first number.
Someone tell me, someone make sense every day. I have to wake up as a white man in this nation. Got to listen to the social icons like Michelle Obama. Every morning I wake up in a house of slaves built by slaves. I got to listen to the browbeating, all this shit. And Black lives, which are supposed to matter the most in this country, don't give a fuck about Black lives.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, we know what the BLM founders, what they ended up buying, like 3 or 5 multi-million-dollar mansions with all of the donation money that BLM raised during the 2020 riots.
It's insane. It's insane. Absolutely insane that this is where we're at and people still buy into this garbage. You know what that's kind of like as we go into some parallel stuff for today? It's kind of like the Jeffrey Epstein list.
Isn't it, though?
Oh, my God. We talk about this quite a bit. I was part of that 17th letter of the alphabet phenomenon several years ago, where I thought, there was underground tunnels, the DUMBs is what they were called, and we had people drinking baby blood, which I think there's some legitimacy to the adrenochrome thing. It's been marketing it or whatever. I believed in the lizard people who lived under the what do you call it? The streets and all this shit, the Pizzagate, all that stuff. So I believed in that. But there's no way in hell I believe that the powers that be are going to allow any type of list to come out. So when you have Trump running on the promise of releasing it, or our new FBI director, Kash Patel, saying he's going to release it, or even Pam Bondi on day one, I'm going to release it. And then they made a fool of the Americans who believe this shit again. I think they're just as bad as any type of black life who thinks that Black Lives Matter. Justice Department released a new batch of Jeffrey Epstein files after Attorney General Pam Bondi said she was reviewing classified documents in the case, but it's not the client list. Quote, the Department of Justice is following through on President Trump's commitment to transparency and lifting the veil on the disgusting actions of Jeffrey Epstein and his co-conspirators, Attorney General Pam Bondi said in a statement on Thursday. Many documents were already released during the Ghislaine Maxwell federal criminal trial, which, to be honest, I don't even know why she's locked up. There's been no buyers for her product. Not one person has been charged for as somebody who has frequented her place of business.
I don't understand how we have victims and yet we don't have perpetrators.
It makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever.
Yeah.
They include flight logs, an evidence list, a contact book, and redacted masseuse list believed to refer to Epstein's victims. Many people named in the documents have never been accused of Epstein-related wrongdoing. However, some, like Maxwell, Prince Andrew, who denied the allegations of the wrongdoing, and Jean-Luc Brunel, a French modeling agent who, like Epstein, died in jail awaiting trial. The logs also show a prominent Epstein accuser, Virginia Giuffre, known as Virginia Roberts, at the time flew with him to the U.S. Virgin Islands. We have this. Over and over and over, we've had this information. We've had both sides, you got to condemn Trump. He's on the flight list. And make no mistake. If they produce information that had Trump on that island, fuck him too.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck him too. I don't, that's not a problem. Anybody who's like, well, you don't want the list exposed because it's going to expose any conservatives. No, they all need to be criminally held accountable and executed.
Yeah.
Very simple.
Yeah.
I don't think this stuff is ever going to get released. And the American public who still support this conservative hanging on to Daddy Trump saving the world is the same as black liberals who keep voting in their fools in office and expecting a different result for change.
Yeah. And the handing out of the binders yesterday or the day before at the White House to certain selected anti-narrative, the podcasters and the influencers that are MAGA movement approved, get this copy of a binder that says Epstein logs or list phase 1, and they're out in front of the White House with these binders, holding up these binders with big ol' slimy smiles on their faces. Like, it was just such a disgusting circus. And they're all parroting out the same shit, like, for the sake of democracy. It sounds exactly like the mainstream media that we've heard for the last 20 fucking years. And I'm like, why are you number one, strip everything else away. Why are you standing in front of the White House, the people's house, holding up binders and smiling like you just hit the lottery, when if we had actual evidence in those binders that we should have had from the Epstein trials, this is representing a pedophilia mafia that has been running this world. Like, the list that we all wanted, we all expected, that we all got blue balls on right now, is what should have been taken down the entire syndicate. And you're going to stand out in front of the White House and hold up this binder like you just got a golden ticket for the Willy Wonka factory? What the hell is wrong with you? There's no decorum. There's no respect for the victims, for the torture that these children have been subjected to. Like, what is going on? Why are we using YouTube influencers to do this?
We conservatives are just as bad as the liberal left. When you have Harry Sisson over at the White House.
It's disgusting. Everything I've been seeing on X about it, I've just been copy pasting the same comment. Disgusting circus, disgusting circus, disgusting circus. Give them bread and circuses and they won't rebel. That's all I'm seeing here. It's pathetic.
It's the same damn thing as having Harry Sissons, David Hogue, or anybody else at the White House. And then we all said, oh, look, there's a trans woman at the White House. What are you guys doing? Same damn thing. The same damn thing, and it absolutely blows me away. The other part of it is that I thought about is we don't care. Everybody, we have to rewind maybe, what was it, last year? The movie that came out, I didn't watch it, but it was on the sex trafficking, and the next thing you know, every blue check mark that's a conservative is selling T-shirts that says, I'm a child wood chipper, pedophile hunter, this and that kind of shit, right? Which we know is nothing. And I can't remember the name. I don't even remember the guy's name. He was a big Tim Ballard. That was him. So we celebrated Tim Ballard for that. That's done and gone. You had Jim Caviezel plays him in a movie that's all about child sex trafficking, but nobody gives a fuck what happens in their own town at all. It's all the further something is away, you're going to change your Facebook or Instagram. You're going to put a flag up in another country on there. But if it's in your backyard, you don't give a shit. So people don't go to their own meetings.
I was actually, I watched that movie. I think it was something. I think it was called The Sound of Silence or something like that. Went to see it in theaters. I supported it a couple times by renting it from home with different friends and family members. But and there's a lot about that movie that I think the really, really asleep people needed to see. Whether or not they would have been interested in seeing that movie is a different conversation. But if they did, I think it may have woken some people up. But I think that overall, I was a little disappointed in the narrative of that movie being overseas, saving children from overseas. I would have preferred, and the way that the beginning of the movie started out, the very, very beginning of it, started out by him hunting down an online, I want to be kind of careful about how I phrase things so we don't get blocked somewhere, but like an online essay distributor, let's just put it that way. And he wrangled this guy and got him in behind bars, and it was stateside. I think the scene was from a place in California that he arrested this guy. So like it starts out in our backyard, and then it immediately goes into saving a kid from Cambodia. And I'm not saying that that's any less important. I just feel like you're saying it's moving it's not making it personal. It's not making it real to the people here. We've had our open borders for the last 4 years where this is coming into our country, because who is the number one consumer of child essay material? America.
I will say it doesn't matter. I don't care. I don't care about any other country's problems at all in America. From an American point of view, I have been told my entire life that every other nation matters except for America, and we are so bad, we're so evil, we're portrayed in foreign films as these rude, arrogant know-it-alls, Americans, and we have our problems. I don't disagree with that, but I'm so tired of another kid matters when they're not an American. And that includes the border. Yeah. The border, I don't care who says what. Everybody says they're trying to flood America with illegal immigrants to change the vote. No, they're not. No, they're not. If you know anything about, and this was the problem before, I'll take specifically the Hispanic culture. The Hispanic culture comes here, they work, they send their money back home, and they retire back in Mexico like motherfucking kings. That's what they do. That's been the outline of their thing, right? The kids come here, they're born here, and anybody who's ever dealt with the Hispanic population in America, they're not the illegal migrants for the most part, they're not the problem. They're little shithead bastard kids. They are the biggest fucking problem in America because they play the system and their parents. Because the parents, they don't know shit that's going on. They fly under the radar. Mom runs a household. Dad's working 2-3 jobs. Yeah, he drinks like crazy. He drives illegally without a license. He does blow to do the 3 jobs, but he's trying to provide and he sends the money back home. That's what I've always had a problem with, is our money is going to another country. With them as a people, I've never had a problem with them. They're shithead kids. Sure. I have. But when you're bringing these kids across the border, and I don't care who says what, can you tell any of these Mexican children apart? They kind of all resemble one another. So when you get these 1-year-olds and 5-year-olds that all look the fucking same with no ID, no birth certificates, you don't know if it's their parents because they do all have the same damn look. You're bringing in kids to fucking rape. That's the problem with the border. And I can't stand anybody who has an issue with closing. It should be shut down because I'm not going to lie. I don't care about Mexico. I don't care if you kill each other. I don't care if you commit violence against one another. It's not my problem. The problem is my country, my state, my county, my city, and we keep getting brainwashed into focusing on what's going on in the White House, what's going on over in Ukraine, what's going on over in Israel, when no one knows what's going on in their own damn village hall. So we have a very big problem in America, and that problem is being stupid and being brainwashed just as easily as the liberal left is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think another perfect example of like the Jordan Peterson thing of make your own bed, like clean up your own room, is we're just now finding out that for decades we've been getting raped financially by our own leaders and sending a bunch of money that we weren't aware of being paid to terrorist organizations and condoms in Uganda or whatever crazy gay fraud.
You know that's not. Do you know that's not going there
in the freaking Philippines?
Yeah, like, but you know that's not. It's a shell. You know those condoms never arrived. You know it's a shit. It's a front. It's not going anywhere.
It's all money laundering. It's all money laundering, and it's just like the American people were, now are barely waking up to that reality, but yet you still think that we're having some sort of global impact for the love and light crowd. Like, really? No. You can't even, you don't even know what's going on, like you said, in your own village, in your own tribe, in your own household. Here
is a problem I have. This is audio from Elon Musk was at a panel, and he talks about the fact he's wearing a pendant or a medallion on his neck. And when I heard him say this is my now concern with Doge.
Do you see this thing? Mm-hmm. Do you know what it is?
Why don't you tell everybody?
This says bring them home. The hostages. It was given to me by the parents of one of the hostages. And I said I would wear it as long as there was a hostage still remaining. And I have. The Jewish people have been persecuted for thousands of years. Everyone here has seen the massive demonstrations for Hamas in every major city in the West. That should be jarring.
So now Elon Musk, I guess he's been for a while, massive supporter of Israel. I'm not going to lie. I have a tad bit concern for person with access to all the financial issues to be openly supporting any other country other than the United States. If you're in that position and you're finding a bunch of coins in the couch, you shouldn't be talking about your neighbor. You should be talking about how you're going to put it right back into the home, fix the walls, get the driveway repaved, hire a fucking landscaper, put some food in the fridge. I don't give a shit about my next door neighbor. I don't give a shit about the guy in the next town over. I understand empathy. Currently, in my position, 100% pro-America, I don't give a rat shit about any Israeli hostage or any Palestine hostage. I don't care. They could all die. I don't know who they are. I didn't know before this shit. I'm not going to know after. I'm America first 100% of the way, and I'm tired of having to cuck for every other nation out there right now. And now this shit with Doge is starting to concern me.
Well, I've never trusted Elon. I find it entertaining. I think that there's certain things that we can find common ground on and other things that you're never going to agree on. And that's fine. That's part of the beauty of living in America for now, is that we can exercise those differences in opinion and speak about it. But I don't trust him.
No,
I don't. I mean, go back a couple years and look at what he wore to the Golden Globes.
Oh my God. Those.
I mean, they always tell you who they are. So I'm not surprised at all that now he's starting to be more vocal about his pro-Zionist state of Israel support. And it's not about it's for me, like, and I've said this before and I'll say it until I'm blue in the face. I'm not anti-Israel. I'm not anti-Palestine. I'm pro-kingdom.
Explain
that
for those who are playing at home.
Yeah, the reality of that is that is going to require the King of Kings to return and set up his kingdom here on earth. And people like Elon, people like probably Trump, people like even JD Vance, there's too much focus on the finite physical 3D realm that we're living in currently and manipulating this reality to achieve some sort of agenda that most people can't see. And there is no focus on the ultimate goal here of what this life is actually all about and who we're here for. So that's a massive difference in worldview that I'm never going to have in common with Elon, because Elon and I do not worship the same God. So therefore our value systems are not going to be structured the same.
I 100% disagree with you. There is 100% focus on who this world should be focused on. It's you. It's the person. It's the satanic agenda. That's why trans ideology, we've talked about this a million times, is so powerful. It has nothing to do with amputating your genitals, cutting off your breasts, putting in implants. It's all about saying, hey, fuck God. You weren't created perfectly in his image. So what? You're 5'7", you got gray hair, and you'll never play in the NBA or NFL. Fuck that, man. You are your own God. Worship yourself. Change your gender. Get some tits. Cut your penis off. Get a hole. Get a cavity scraped out in your body. You can take these hormones. That's what that whole thing is about. It's about self-idolization. So the world is 100% tells you who to wind up focusing on. It's you.
Yeah, my point is that's not who I worship. So therefore, our worldview is completely inverted, not in alignment. And so the way that they want to run things is not going to be complementary to the way that I see things needing to be run, or people who think like me. So I don't trust any of them. Like I've said, even with Trump, yeah, I cast my bet on the election, but it is what it is, because at the end of the day, I'm called to live a certain way, and I'm doing that to the best of my ability, day by day, my understanding of what that identity is and how I'm supposed to walk that out in real life. And at the end of the day, none of these motherfuckers matter because they can't hold a candle. It's not even a fight with the King of Kings.
No, just come back now, kick some ass, man.
It's just not. It's not even a fight. They think that they're going to win. They think that they can put up a good fight. They think that it's going to be a showdown.
I sat there and I told you, I started following some other YouTube channel. I can't remember the guy's name, but it was this whole giant new rabbit hole that would be cool to go down sometime. Talking about how it was the Catholic Church that came up with the second coming, and it's not going to happen. I was like, and this guy was a biblical fucking scholar. He only has maybe 30,000 followers or something. I'm like, this guy needs to be in the millions of followers. He did this giant breakdown on how the current Jews aren't the chosen one. And he went back in the genealogy, showed how they hijacked the movement and shit. I'm like, this is incredible. So when he said that, didn't make me lose hope on things. He kind of rediverted it, but it wasn't on that. Today's show is brought to you by flexyourfeminine.com. 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 We happen to have the owner of flexyourfeminine.com sitting with us at the top of the highest building in the world today. Owner of Flex Your Feminine, while we're looking at this on the screen, can you tell everybody about flexyourfeminine.com?
Flex Your Feminine is a women's wellness ministry that I founded almost 2 years ago that I'm really excited about for our biological women only. Sorry, boys, but if you've got a woman in your life that needs some support with her hormone health, her vitality, her femininity, her libido needs some some tune-up, and she wants to be the most beautiful version of herself, as is her birthright in the way that she was created. That's what Flex Your Feminine is all about. So I am proud to say and humble to say that I woke up and unplugged myself from the fitness hustle matrix and saw the reality of the industry and the world that we live in and the marketing scams and schemes that we're forced to swallow as men and women. And Flex Your Feminine is the anti-mainstream narrative to that. It's the answer to that. So that was kind of the impetus behind me starting it. And come check us out. It's fun. We have a lot of fun over there. It's not the surface level. Oh, I want to lose 5 pounds and do whatever I need to do. Just tell me what I need to cut out of my diet. Just tell me what pill I need to take to lose these last 5 pounds. That's not the conversation we're having. It'll rip your world apart.
If you have any questions, get in touch with Kayla at K-A-Y-L-A. That's K-A-Y-L-A at flexyourfeminine.com. You can follow her on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Flex Your Feminine. On TikTok, it's flex_your_feminine. I lost a few supporters the other day when I put up an opinion, because you're mandatory to support Daddy Trump no matter what. Dan Bongino just got appointed to the second position, the deputy director of the FBI. And I expressed I'm not on board. I'm just not on board with it.
I've never been a big fan of Dan's. I can't stand his podcast.
I don't want.
I don't know.
I don't want more Trump loyalists. I want impartial people who actually, like, if we had people who were just as fierce to the Constitution and they were on the other side, I would be like, I want to know that, because I'm balanced. I'm very blinded by my views. I need opposition to grow, but we don't operate that anymore. My only experience with Bongino is we were both in law enforcement, and on a Twitter post, I challenged very respectfully his view, and he blocked me. I'm like, that's how you take questions?
That's healthy.
Yeah, and trust me, I'm a big fan of the block button when people get personal and shit. It's like, fuck
sure.
you. But I was very, very blown away at him on that. So, but this is Bongino, and people are making the rounds on this. He was on Timcast, and this is another reason I don't want. It's America first in my view on anything. I want to play a game with you. Tell me what nation he's avoiding saying in this interview clip.
About a year and a half after that, I'm in a green room at Fox, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me permission to share it, but the short story, but not who they are. It says, Epstein's an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East, right? I'm like, no, I didn't know that. I'm like, you sure of that? The person, let's say, is like, I'm absolutely sure of that he's either a witting or unwitting asset, intelligence asset, meaning his plane and that island, the cameras, there's a big assumption out there that these videotapes were exclusively in the custody of Epstein. That's a huge mistake. The reason they wanted this story to go away is because there's an assumption like, oh yeah, Epstein had him. No, he wasn't the only one who had him, according to this source. These assets, that's why this blackmail story makes so much sense. Which Middle Eastern countries they are, I don't know. But this person, who is a very, very good reporter, I mean, aces, right? Swore Epstein was either a witting or unwitting intelligence asset, and they may have had his plane wired up, and they're the ones who have all this stuff. So the point is, to sum it up, how do you know some of these countries aren't going to some of these power players who aren't making decisions? Because, hey, you wouldn't want this video out there, right? How do you know?
100%.
I mean,
let's get.
What country or what nation was he too afraid to refer to, you think?
Is he playing dumb for the sake of not getting censored online in that interview? Because we all know who Ghislaine's father was.
Oh, for those who don't know, this is fantastic. Can you explain, number one, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's number two, who was her father?
He was a Mossad agent.
What's Mossad?
It's basically Israeli CIA.
Okay. And that, that would be in Israel.
Right.
Okay. Have you ever seen, and I'll let you, you know what, people need to do this on their own. Google search. And this goes back, this is kind of like the foundation. When Kayla comes on, we actually tie a lot of stuff into faith, right? And both of us are Christ followers. This is what it is. I'm never going to push my view down your throat. I'm a former Catholic. I truly believe the Catholic Church is satanic. My justification for that is anytime you put anything above the Bible, it's satanic because Satan put himself above God's word, right? So your rituals, the fact that Christians or Catholics love to say, your loved one is in purgatory right now, they'll be with Jesus soon, which is nowhere in the Bible, nowhere. And that literally means that whatever Christ did on the cross, that sacrifice wasn't good enough. You have to go burn your sins off in purgatory. Well, then what the fuck did he die for, right? But that's that.
Right.
We talk about the tie-in for faith. Well, when you look at, where was I? That was a great rant. Where was I going?
You were talking about how we're kind of going back to the basics, talking about Mossad, Epstein.
So child sex trafficking, right?
Bogino.
The whole child sex trafficking. This for those of you who are old enough to remember. This is the analogy I give you. When you look at it, a lot of Christians, what do we say all the time? We're covered in the blood of Christ, right? Which I don't understand. And I follow Psalms or Proverbs 3:5. Do not rely on your own understanding. Okay, fine. I'm going to trust in the Lord with all my heart. I don't fucking get it. I'm just going to trust you. So if Christ's spilt blood was one and done, and that's everything, and Satan tries to duplicate everything that Christ did, and of course, I'm going to let you jump in a second because you got a lot to say on this. That means he's going to try to do what Jesus did because he's God of this world. So it would kind of make sense that if Jesus spilled blood, Satan's got to spill blood. So we do it all the time. Violence, abortions, killing of children. And it is out in the mainstream media. And I tell people, go watch the movie The Dark Crystal, Jim Henson from the 80s. For those who remember, you had the Skeksis, who were the bad monsters, and they maintained their youth over centuries by drinking Gelfling essence. Remember, they would take Gelfling, which gin was, and Kira, and they were the last two, and they would strap them to this chair, and the Dark Crystal, the movie was named after, would come down, shine in their eyes, drain their essence, and the Skeksis would drink it. Well, when they killed all the Skeksis, the Gelfling, the only thing left were the Podlings. And they would try that with the Podlings, but it would only last a few minutes. Remember when the Emperor drank the Podling essence and he was young again, and it lasted about 30 seconds? That's the fucking analogy.
Yeah.
Jesus' blood spilled works. Satan's methodology doesn't. So every time you think about, well, what do you mean they're sacrificing children and all this shit? Go read your Bible about Moloch. Go read your Bible. This shit just doesn't go away because centuries have passed. Well, when you look, go Google images of Mother Teresa and Ghislaine Maxwell's father. You're going to see them spending time together. Who was Mother Teresa? A sainted Catholic nun that my grammar school was named after. Mother Teresa, we all were told, was the most wonderful human being in the world until you get older, find out that a lot of people said she was a fucking bitch. But where was she at? What countries was she working with? The poor, the children. And I'm just saying, what a position to have somebody dealing with the drugs and dregs of society, the people that no one will miss, to take children and funnel them into one of the biggest pedophilia organizations in the fucking world, the Catholic Church. And for those of you Catholics out there, you should have called for the heads, the public execution of every single fucking priest who ever raped a toddler or a child or an altar boy instead of just having them reassigned. So the ultimate point of this is, don't think it's just one nation. It's satanic. Massively.
That's what I keep saying every time we bring up the Jews is there's a whole lot of anti-Semitism going on right now that I put in air quotes because they want you to be afraid of asking the questions and looking behind the veil. It's not one nation. It's not even one people, the way that we are allowed to see one people. They want you focused on the Jewish people, the Israeli state, when the reality is that the synagogue of Satan has hid behind different groups of people throughout history. They literally fake conversions in order to hide behind the Jews, behind the Christians, behind the Muslims throughout history. This has been going on. There is nothing new under the sun. So my issue is not with the Jews. When Elon talks about the Jews or whatever, on the surface, I can agree with him. The reality is that I know more than he thinks I know, and I don't agree with what I actually know he's talking about. Is he wants to protect the people behind the Jews, the false converts. And again, these exist behind the Jews, they exist behind the Vatican, the Catholics, the Christians, they exist behind the Muslims. This is false converts that are a part of the synagogue of Satan, and they hide behind these major religions to sow division and confusion in God's people. I don't know how much more blatant and honest I can be about it to make it make sense. You guys have to look beneath the surface. You have to get smarter. You have to be as cunning as serpents and as gentle as doves. There is no other way. We've been told everything through scripture. God has not withheld anything from us. You have to be willing to seek in order to find. And most of you are too content sucking on the tit and getting the milk from the pulpit of your local church instead of eating the meat that you should be eating, which is a lot tougher to chew.
Just the same as with the Catholic Church, people need to condemn Jews. The Jews need to be condemned. I'm sorry. It's not a matter of just don't liking a people. If by some chance, and this is where Dan Bongino, fuck him. Because here's the Epstein list. If the Epstein list will not come out because you're going to show that it was tied to Israel, and who's in Israel? Jews. Then that means that God's chosen, that they hide behind all the time, and they're the biggest racists on the planet, to say that one group of people is the chosen of the creator of the universe and everything in it. That's racism by definition. But that also means that the holy of holy chosen ones are responsible for orchestrating the rape of children. I don't know how much more evil you get than that. It should be, wait a second. So the Epstein list will not come out because you don't want to expose Israel's involvement in it using a honeypot, which means that you guys actively set up scenarios for these A-list celebrities and Republican and Democrat congressmen, senators, House representatives, presidents to fuck children. And you don't want to say that that's where they're from. This all goes back to the American people. This is why they need us divided. This is why, because you can't, there's not one Democrat and one Republican who should ever look at each other and go, "What, fuck you, you're not going to support kids being raped the way I want them to." They should never do that, right? It should be at the table. I hate you, you're a Bears fan. I hate you, you're a Packers fan. That guy fucks and rapes children. Let's go, we need to go do something about that. But you can't do that because you're going to have, oh, you supported Trump. You supported Harris. You're a liberal. You're a conservative. You're this. You're MAGA. You're this. The division is to prevent the notion of we the people, which doesn't exist anymore. It's we the ideology, we the political party. And if they only came together, to be honest, what should happen, and this is a perfect world scenario. You should have someone like Pam Bondi, Attorney General, who says, on day 1, I will release this list. Okay, I think we're at day 5 now. Everybody should be outside of her office protesting, banging on that fucking door. And every Secret Service agent, every Capitol Police, whoever should do that, should say, no, you're the people. They should take a step back and let her deal with the consequences. And we need to stop giving these people any latitude or leverage. The tea that was spilt in Boston, it needs to be brought up to date. And that's the only way shit is ever going to change, because politicians, they don't work for us anymore. They don't fear us anymore. Just imagine There's a group of people who know the reality of that list. They know the reality of Diddy parties and all this shit. And they know all this shit. And they're treating us like we're stupid children who can't handle the truth. And we're the ones who are sharing memes online and typing angry shit in the comment section instead of making heads fucking roll. That's the problem. And we are the problem in America. We are 100%.
Well, and they've done a really great job of creating this passivity in the American culture. I mean, we're the sickest nation on the planet. I mean, I've heard, I don't want to get anybody in trouble, but like I hear stories all the time from local law enforcement agencies and friends that I have in different agencies and departments locally where people are not passing basic physicals.
Dude, don't get me started on that. That's why that's why you have a nation of shitty cops. Because what happened with the mandates, people didn't want to take a little sting that poked them. You had all of these vacancies need to be hired. Now, I started the last 2 or 3 weeks. My social media took a turn to exposing a lot of bad law enforcement because I just can't do this shit anymore. My profession, my former profession has been destroyed. And I've had more direct messages, DMs from people saying, I owe you an apology. I've shit on your stuff for years. I didn't, because people would sit there and say, "What? Why are you making fun of these cops who are in their squad cars doing lip syncing shit? What's wrong with you? You're just bitter. You're just jaded." Until I post day after day, different officer after different officer after different officer is doing it. I posted a video today from LaGrange, Georgia, and their Instagram has 100,000 followers, and it has all these cops, and they're doing lip syncing, doing stupid dance in their squad rooms, all this shit. And I started, well, what's this demographic like? The town is 37,000 people. The median income is 28,000. The cops average between $70,000 per year and $100,000 per year, and their crime rate is double the national average. But they're in their squads fucking around, doing dance tutorials and all this shit. And people are now like, I did not know how many of these cops we had out there that were like this. Yeah. Yes, this is 100% what it is. Because there's no standards. There's no fitness standards. It's a bunch of, we got it. But the other day it hit me like a ton of bricks. Now I understand why they're doing this. Because all you need to do is say, you go from, why are all these unarmed black men being shot by police? Well, I could justify it all day long. The violence, unarmed, does not mean not dangerous. We refuse to have a conversation about 52% of the violent crime in America being committed by 6% of the population. You don't want to talk about that. So now what do? You plug in shit cop, shit cop, shit cop. You make the TikTok standard, the law enforcement epidemic in America, and then you see all these cops who are shooting when they were supposed to, when they said taser, 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 they grabbed the wrong fucking tool. It takes 5 cops to take a 10-year-old into custody. Now all of a sudden you can change the narrative and say, man, we have a bad category of officer on the planet, the nation.
Yeah. We definitely should hire more women for the job because she's definitely going to be physically capable of handling what unfit men can't handle. Correct. And she's definitely not going to get into an OIS prematurely by grabbing her gun because that's the great equalizer.
So that's how they control it.
The cop talk is even like it's a petri dish of the nationwide issue that we're talking about here. Like,
but it's how they replace it.
The cop demographic is the perfect example of what has happened across this nation with the general population. Everyone is sick compared to the world standard. Everyone is unhealthy. Americans are on more prescription drugs than it's even worth. It's just ridiculous. Oh God,
what does it do to your
properly?
What does it do to your mental health
anymore? Nobody's having sex anymore. Nobody's healthy. Nobody can think straight anymore. Like, they're worse off than the worst cops.
And those cops are the ones who are responsible for making decisions that affect your life. The ultimate decision for that, the plan is if you flood the world with bad cops, now you create a problem. Now you can come in and say, hey, we need to federalize the police. Yeah, so we're going to decide who gets hired. And those are going to be good boys who are going to be obedient to their masters, not the Constitution. This stuff has all
Right.
been planned.
Right.
Speaking of talking cops, don't forget today's episode here of the Rants of Izzo show is brought to you by coptalklive.org, coptalklive.org for news, article, videos, and more. Go to coptalklive.org. Cop Talk Live is live every Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Rumble, and X. You can go Cop Talk Live over on X and check them out as well, too. Have you seen Zelensky in the White House today?
Oh, I watched it twice.
Did you? I'm sorry. I had a heart on the size of fucking Florida.
I was so entertained.
I want to watch that. I want to watch it again. For anybody who hasn't seen it, I was blown away. And we're going to watch a portion of the press conference between Zelensky, President Trump, and then Vice President J.D. Vance. And a couple of different things that actually blew me away. Those dachshunds were my favorite dogs as a kid.
He's not a dachshund. He's a Doberman.
He looked small. He looked a lot smaller.
I know. He's all curled up. He's a Doberman.
Well, you didn't crop his ears?
No, we didn't crop his. We adopted him. He was already a year old. And his mama over on the other side of the couch, she has cropped ears.
Yeah, girls are great. Dobermans are my second favorite dog. I was so impressed. Normally, I can't stand Trump's mouth, even though I voted for him. I support him. It's like, you shut up. But today, Zelensky is proof that no one took the United States seriously. And I think that, honestly, I think that people got a hold of Zelensky before this press conference and said, press him. And Zelensky was completely out of fucking hand. J.D. Vance, I was so impressed how J.D. Vance maintained his status as number 2, didn't overstep his bounds. I mean, he elevated himself while elevating Trump and not usurping Trump. I was like, damn. And I was waiting
they were tag teaming it so beautifully.
I was waiting for Trump to kind of like shush Vance, and he fucking didn't. So far, based on Vance and his debate with Waltz, which I thought he was such a class act over, and this right now, my thought is if JD Vance runs in 2028, he's getting my fucking vote. Getting my vote. But we're going to play this.
He's a Rottweiler.
And he's a classy Rottweiler, dude.
Yeah.
All right, we have to play this for the American public to see, and it still blows me away. We have people defending Zelensky today. And I think every person who's on Twitter defending Zelensky, you should be charged with fucking treason. You should be convicted in a criminal court of law, and then you should be shot in the fucking face, executed for capital punishment's sake, because you support another country and not America. That's just my view. You're a traitor to this country.
Yeah, I mean,
America, and for the good of the world. I'm aligned with the world, and I want to get this thing over with. You see the hatred he's got for Putin. It's very tough for me to make a deal with that kind of hate. He's got tremendous hatred, and I understand that, but I can tell you the other side isn't exactly in love with him either. So it's not a question of alignment. I'm aligned with the world. I want to get the thing set. I'm aligned with Europe. I want to see if we can get this thing done. You want me to be tough? I could be tougher than any human being you've ever seen. I'd be so tough. But you're never going to get a deal that way. So that's the way it goes. All right, one more question.
I will respond to this. So look, for 4 years in the United States of America, we had a president who stood up at press conferences and talked tough about Vladimir Putin, and then Putin invaded Ukraine and destroyed a significant chunk of the country. The path to peace and the path to prosperity is maybe engaging in diplomacy. We tried the pathway of Joe Biden of thumping our chest and pretending that the President of the United States' words mattered more than the President of the United States' actions. What makes America a good country is America engaging in diplomacy. That's what President Trump is doing.
Can I ask you?
Sure.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So he occupied our big parts of Ukraine, part of East and Crimea. So he occupied it on 2014. So
this is where I was giving Zelensky a little bit because he's kind of interjecting. And I'm thinking, you want to show, it's got to be a balance to where you go from being a leader of a country, Ukraine, and then coming to the White House, and you're still asking for help and for money, right? So I'm like, all right, I kind of support that, whatever.
Well, I mean, number one, I hate to be this shallow, but it's not really shallow. If you're trying to be an equal in the White House to the men that are in the White House,
oh, go ahead.
Maybe wear a fucking suit.
What, yeah.
This dude is a joke. And like, can we just get it out of the way and out into the open that he's a dictator that was installed into Ukraine and has been blocking democracy the entire time that he's been running Ukraine, if he's even running Ukraine. We all know he's a puppet, I think. So here we are. He's going to mention here at some point, I think coming up, how they need America's help to defend democracy in Ukraine. He's the fucker that's blocking democracy in Ukraine.
Wow. Yeah, I love how he just gets off the rails here. Random. Yeah. X is not a free speech platform. I literally just now got a 12-hour ban for George Takei, Sulu from Star Trek, retweeted one of Trump's posts and says, "You're a disgrace." I commented, "You swallow cum." And I just got a 12-hour ban on Twitter for stating the obvious. The man is gay. He swallows semen. How's that a fucking problem? I was maybe being flattering to him, recognizing his gay homosexual status. So thank you, Elon, for your...
But see, if you would have commented that on one of my posts, it wouldn't have gotten flagged because I'm not gay. So how is that fair?
I don't know.
See? It's a joke.
During a lot of years, I'm not speaking about just Biden, but those time was Obama, then President Obama, then President Trump, then President Biden, now President Trump, and God bless, now President Trump will stop him. But during 2014, nobody stopped him. He just occupied and took. He killed people. You know what the contact
2015.
2014.
2014 and
2014.
Yeah. So
I was not here.
Yeah, but
that's exactly right.
Yes, but during 2014 till 2022, the situation the same. The people have been dying on the contact line. Nobody stopped him. You know that we had conversations with him, a lot of conversation, my bilateral conversation, and we signed with him, me, like a new president. In 2019, I signed with him the deal. I signed with him, Macron and Merkel, we signed ceasefire. Ceasefire. All of them told me that he will never go. We signed him with gas contract. Yes, but after that, he broken this ceasefire. He killed our people and he didn't exchange prisoners. We signed the exchange of prisoners, but he didn't do it. What kind of diplomacy, JD, you are speaking about? What do you mean?
I'm talking about the kind of diplomacy that's going to end the destruction of your country.
Yes, but if you
Mr. President, with respect, I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media. Right now, you guys are going around and forcing conscripts to the front lines because you have manpower problems. You should be thanking the president for trying to bring an end to this conflict.
Have you ever been to Ukraine that you say what problems we have?
I have been to.
Come once.
I've actually watched and seen the stories, and I know what happens is you bring them on a propaganda tour, Mr. President. Do you disagree that you've had problems bringing people into your military? And do you think that it's respectful to come to the Oval Office of the United States of America and attack the administration that is trying to prevent the destruction of your country?
A lot of questions. Let's start from the beginning.
Sure.
First of all, during the war, everybody has problems, even you, but you have nice ocean and don't feel now, but you will feel it in the future. God bless.
I took that as a threat. You will feel it in the future.
Yeah.
I took that as a fucking threat.
So did Trump.
I started to sit there.
Trump's like, no, you're not going to come in my house and tell my people how we're going to feel.
How can any American... How can any self-respecting American... I would have loved to see this out of Biden. You know, it's like, just because... I've talked about this kind of comparison before. My mother and I did not get along the last several years of her life. It was my fucking war against her all the time. But if somebody else went to disrespect her, no, fuck you. I had a problem with my niece's father. You know, it was my sister's child, the man that had a child with her. And he disrespects my mother, I said, you and I have a fucking problem now. That's my mother. You know, it doesn't matter what I say about her. So it's the same thing. It's like maybe I don't get along with or agree with Joe Biden's policy, Kamala Harris. But if they went after a foreign nation like this, I would have been like, no, I'm on their side because America first. So how can any self-respecting American say they have a problem with how Trump defended the nation today as he goes into this part right here?
You don't know that.
God bless. God bless. You will not have a war.
Don't tell us what we're going to feel. We're trying to solve a problem. Don't tell us what we're going to feel.
I'm not telling you.
Because you're in no position to dictate that.
That's exactly what you're doing.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel. We're going to feel very good.
You will feel influence.
We're going to feel very good and very strong.
You will feel influence.
You're right now not in a very good position. You've allowed yourself to be in a very bad position, and he happens to be right about it.
From the very beginning of the war.
You're not in a good position. You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having
not
cards.
Playing cards.
Right now, you don't.
You're
playing cards.
Mr. President.
You're playing cards.
Serious.
You're gambling with the
lives
of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III. You're gambling with World War III. And what you're doing is very disrespectful to the country, this country, that's back to you, far more than a lot of people said they should have.
Have you said thank you once this entire meeting? No, in this entire meeting, have you said thank you? You went to Pennsylvania and campaigned for the opposition in October. Offer some words of appreciation for the United States of America and the president who's trying to save your country.
Please, you think that if you will speak very loudly about the war,
He's not speaking loudly. He's not speaking loudly. Your country's in big trouble.
Can I
Wait a
answer?
minute. No, you've done a lot of talking. Your country is in big trouble.
I know.
You're not winning. You're not winning this. You have a damn good chance of coming out okay because of us.
Mr. President, we are staying in our country, staying strong from the very beginning of the war. We've been alone, and we are thankful. I said thanks
you haven't
in
been
this
alone.
cabinet,
You
and
haven't
not
been
only
alone.
in this cabinet.
We gave you, through this stupid president, $350 billion.
You voted
we gave
for
you
your
military
president.
equipment,
You
and you
voted
men
for
are
your
brave,
president.
but they had to use our military.
What about
if you didn't have our military equipment,
you invited
if
me
you
to
didn't
speak.
have our military equipment, this war would have been over in 2 weeks.
In 3 days, I heard it from Putin. In 3 days, this is something
Maybe
new.
less.
In 2 weeks, of course, yes.
It's going to be a very hard thing to do business like this.
Again,
I tell you.
just say thank you.
I said a lot of times to American people.
Accept that there are disagreements, and let's go litigate those disagreements rather than trying to fight it out in the American media when you're wrong. We know that you're wrong.
But you see, I think it's good for the American people to see what's going on.
I understand, sir.
I think it's very important. That's why I kept this going so long. You have to be thankful. You don't have the cards. You're buried there. Your people are dying. You're running low on soldiers. Listen, you're running low on soldiers. It would be a damn good thing. And then you tell us, I don't want a ceasefire. I don't want a ceasefire. I want to go and I want this. Look, if you could get a ceasefire right now, I tell you, you take it so the bullets stop flying and your men stop getting killed.
Of course, we want to stop the war.
But you're saying you don't want a ceasefire.
But I said to you,
I want a ceasefire.
With guarantees.
Because you'll get a ceasefire faster than an agreement.
Ask our people about ceasefire, what they think.
That wasn't with me.
For you what,
that wasn't with me. That was with a guy named Biden, who was not a smart person. That was with Obama.
It was your president.
Excuse me. That was with Obama, who gave you sheets, and I gave you javelins.
Yes.
I gave you the javelins to take out all those tanks. Obama gave you sheets. In fact, the statement is Obama gave sheets and Trump gave javelins. You got to be more thankful, because let me tell you, you don't have the cards. With us, you have the cards. But without us, you don't have any cards.
One more question to Mr. Vice President. I'm sorry.
It's going to be a tough deal to make because the attitudes have to change.
What if Russia breaks ceasefire? What if Russia breaks peace talks? What do you do then? I understand that
this is great.
Conversation right
What are you
now,
saying?
She's asking, what if Russia breaks the ceasefire?
What if anything? What if a bomb drops on your head right now? Okay? What if they broke it? I don't know. They broke it with Biden because Biden, they didn't respect him. They didn't respect Obama. They respect me. Let me tell you, Putin went through a hell of a lot with me. He went through a phony witch hunt where they used him and Russia. You ever hear of that deal? That was a phony That was a phony Hunter Biden, Joe Biden scam. Hillary Clinton, Shifty Adam Schiff. It was a Democrat scam. And he had to go through that. And he did go through it. We didn't end up in a war. And he went through it. He was accused of all that stuff. He had nothing to do with it. It came out of Hunter Biden's bathroom. It came out of Hunter Biden's bedroom. It was disgusting. And then they said, oh, the laptop from hell was made by Russia. The 51 agents. The whole thing was a scam. And he had to put up with that. He was being accused of all that stuff. All I can say is this. He might have broken deals with Obama and Bush, and he might have broken them with Biden. He did, maybe. Maybe he didn't. I don't know what happened. But he didn't break them with me. He wants to make a deal. I don't know if you can make a deal. The problem is, I've empowered you to be a tough guy. And I don't think you'd be a tough guy without the United States. And your people are very brave. But you're either going to make a deal or we're out. And if we're out, you'll fight it out. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but you'll fight it out. But you don't have the cards. But once we sign that deal, you're in a much better position. But you're not acting at all thankful. And that's not a nice thing. I'll be honest, that's not a nice thing. All right, I think we've seen enough. What do you think? Huh?
I think he's fucking brilliant, and I think Ukraine should be on their own. Sink or swim. I can't imagine going to.
I felt like Ukraine should have been on their own from the beginning. I never wanted our dollars involved at all. It's not.
I can't imagine going to. I'm 50, and I don't argue with my father that way. You know, if I feel like I'm right about something, I don't talk over my own father that way. But you're going to get somebody comes to the president of the was it the Oval Office?
That was the Oval Office.
And you are talking over and shitting on the country that has given you billions of fuck Ukraine. I don't care if they get wiped off the map at this point. I really don't.
The Ukrainian ambassador, I don't know if you've seen pictures and video of her circulating, but while Zelensky was going off, she was just like, she was crying because she knew. She was like, you just nuked this entire thing. Like, he went completely off script from what she was expecting.
I saw, I got to find if this is
and Rubio was sitting next to JD, and Rubio is sitting there completely blindsided because he's the one that went and coordinated this whole thing and got Zelensky's agreement to come to the White House and sign on the dotted line. And so here we are. He thinks that he's done this great thing, bringing Zelensky to the table, and he's ironed out all the kinks before presenting this to Trump to have it signed and made official, and Zelensky is just not playing ball. And this goes to Rubio's credit, actually, because Rubio has before said that Zelensky did the same thing to him, where they discussed behind closed doors one thing, and then Zelensky went out 5 minutes later and did a press conference and said the exact opposite of what Rubio and him discussed and agreed to. And now here we are, where the American people are getting to witness this happening in the Oval Office, our most quote unquote sacred hollow ground of our country, right? Where he's doing the same thing. He told Rubio and all involved parties what he needed them to hear in order to get him to the Oval Office. And then once he gets to the Oval Office, he takes a shit in the middle of the room. And it's just perfect. Like, it's just perfect. I don't know what more we need to see as a country to be able to get the majority of the people on the side of just let them battle this out. Just let them do whatever they want to do. He obviously doesn't cherish his people's lives the same way, to the same extent that Trump cherishes his people's lives. Oh. Like, he's willing to just let them all duke it out and not make peace and not act like a man and take whatever he needs to take on the chin to save his people, because he's not a leader. He's a dictator. And this has been a blank check for him for the last 4 years. And that's all he really wants, is a blank check. He doesn't want diplomacy. He doesn't want freedom. He doesn't want anything that makes sense to the values of the American people, because it's not who he is.
No, he wants more TV time. That's it.
Yes. And he's still a performer. I mean, are we going to forget where he came from?
Has Doge looked into where the money to Ukraine actually went to?
Right. I don't know. I would love to know.
That's, if we'd get that, who's really
another
pulling the
money laundering funnel is all that is.
100%. Talk about Flex Your Feminine again, please. Tell everybody all about it.
Check out flexyourfeminine.com. I am also on Instagram at flexyourfeminine. It's the same on X. It's the same on TikTok. It's all about women. It's all about women actually being women. We're not into the gender fluidity thing. It's about getting back to the brilliance and the basics and the truth of our biological design, the way that God created us, and breaking out of the fitness hustle matrix and the way that it tells you to diet and work out like men, quite frankly. And there's nothing wrong with that for men, but it's not the right fit for women. So let's optimize your hormones, let's optimize your health and beauty, and get you into Flex Your Feminine.
It's flexyourfeminine.com. Go check them out. Also, if your police want to change cop culture, if you want to look at law enforcement, police breakdowns, body camera footage, reviews, interviews, live, and more, go to coptalklive.org. coptalklive.org. You can also follow Cop Talk Live on X, YouTube, Rumble, everywhere else. But all the content, police breakdowns. Did you see the one, everybody, about Ice-T clashing with police? He was actually in the right. That cop violated his First Amendment constitutional right, and I talk about that in there too. Guys, we'll see you Monday. We're live now, 5 p.m. Central at 6 Eastern. Ransom Izzo show here, and go do something for somebody today. Go help them out, and if you can't help them, just don't hurt them. See you guys later on.